Hello everyone, hope you're all doing good. Welcome back to Team Engzine.
Can you all take a guess what today's topic is about?
Let me just give you a hint. Growing up, many of us were fascinated by our grandparents and parents' storytelling, which is also shapes our values and sparkle the curiosity about the world, isn't it?
Obviously, and today's topic is all about the future of teaching is storytelling.
Sounds so interesting, right? Today, we have our Reverend Father Francis M. Peter to enlighten this session.
Yes, he has been an examiner and examiner trainer for more than a decade, and he also authored several books on teacher empowerment, ELT, grammar, linguistics, and so on.
We heartily welcome you, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you.
So, sir, shall we move on to the first question? Sir, as we all know, you have been teaching in various countries, in various institutions. Do you think that our generation is difficult to teach? If you think so, why is that so, sir?
You know, session after session, training after training, college after college, all faculty tell us one thing about this generation. One, that this generation is restless in class, do not concentrate, have got a short fuse, and can't read for more than 2 pages. This, according to them, is the liability of the present generation. But something is very interesting. In spite of what they call liability, you people have acquired such a humongous knowledge. You know so much perhaps better than the previous generation. And so that means that you have a different way of acquiring knowledge, different route and different rate of learning. And that is what really matters. Difference is not deficiency. You have a different way of doing which is not deficient is what all I want to say. You are not comfortable with the traditional mode of lecture, but you want something else. Images perhaps.
Sir, your understanding about the current generation was on point. So, here is my next question. Are you thinking that this generation learns through images which are projected from videos or TV, and why not the other things?
You know, you are a digital generation. You have been brought up with internet, mobile, TV right from your birth. And so you like to have this mode of learning. But what really happens in the school is they have a logical way of presenting things. They have a lecture method, and that is not what you really like. If school presents to you realia, pictures, images, you would acquire it faster and will stick longer than if it is through lectures, lengthy lectures, and through logic.
Yes, sir. As you told about the visual learning, how do teachers actually change their own way of teaching, sir? Is that even possible, sir?
Every one of us human beings have been brought up with storytelling. As you said in the introduction, our grandparents, our parents, our teachers and others have given us a good feed of stories. Stories is natural. Stories for us is a cultural universal, the oldest form of teaching. And we have learnt it, and things are transmitted to us through this form rather than through any other things. 27,000 years ago, a research shows that cave paintings reveal that people have learned because of what we find is storytelling. Storytelling is something that is natural, it is part of our DNA, anybody can really take to it.
I'm just so fascinated by your answers, sir. Sir, as you have been mentioning stories and storytelling, I just wonder what is actually a story.
Good question. I need to clarify that. When I say story, I don't mean things that begin with long, long ago or once upon a time and ending with and they lived happily ever afterwards. I'm looking at an incident, I'm looking at a puzzle. I'm looking at a startling data. I'm looking at a quiz. For example, the fall of the apple, which taught us about the gravitational force, can become a story in a science class. Archimedes, when he said Eureka, can be a problem solving story which can trigger the interest of the audience. Or when I ask you a question, do you know what is that one thing which has caused the maximum number of deaths of the humans right from the beginning of the world, the creation, including all the world wars?
Is it mosquitoes, sir?
Excellent. That's it. When I start with this question after some time, when they answer this, I'm sure the people won't answer it in the first go. He said, but then I can start about all malaria or anything like this, a story that will be fascinating. I can also tell them the story of history, for example. We'll fight them by the beaches and we'll fight them in the hills. We shall never surrender. You know who said this? Winston Churchill. This can be the beginning of a story of a war. Anything is a story. It is up to us to convert it into a story and animate it and make it exciting.
And sir, how do these stories can actually make a difference?
You know, when a child listens to a well narrated story, the child is absorbed, entangled, and unconsciously the child learns and is involved in it. That's what makes storytelling classic and great. It's a skill that when you follow, you will unconsciously absorb vocabulary, expression, pronunciation, confidence. And there are sometimes a little problem that comes there, and then you like to discuss that. This creates what I call a communicative urge, which will help the language to blossom. Only when we interact, we learn to speak by speaking. So this will help us. It will be an interesting, motivating, relevant way of learning.
Sir, as we are continuously discussing about stories and storytelling, can storytelling make feels everyone interested or students might get bored, right?
Ah, I don't know. Stories have a universal appeal. You know, it caters to people of different needs. There are three types of students. I call them people with a head, with a heart, and with a hand. Or let me put it in another way. You know, it is people with kinesthetic and imaginative and will be visualized. There are people who like to predominantly be visual in their thinking. Story will appeal to them. There are people who like to listen, and stories have the auditory impact. And there are people who are kinesthetic, and so the action in the story will engage them. Story has got a universal appeal. Story can stir up everybody, and so I'm sure there will be people who love to do this. It fascinates, it creates and conjures an imagination, a world of the imagination, and connects the today with the tomorrow, with the real and the imaginary.
Sounds so true, sir. Now, can we have a demo, please, sir?
Demo. Let's see. What do you understand by the term trust? Take some time and think about it and tell me what trust is.
Trust. Trust is nothing, it's a feeling of confidence and security. It's nothing but the assurance we keep on someone's character and ability.
Good.
Google says trust is an abstract mental attitude, a complex neural process that binds diverse representations into a semantic pointer that includes emotions.
That Google definition is absolutely correct and complete. But do you understand it? Now let us listen to something else. Now, here is something. Do you trust me? Do you believe that I will not hurt you? My father whispered in my ears as he put on the jacket, the safety jacket on me, and then, without a warning, he threw me into the sea. Bubbling sea, cold sea, and I went down into the sea. I was drowning and drowning and touched the bottom, and then I came back bubbling. And then he jumped in after me. He held me tight, and then he said, I will not let you go. You know, after that, the water was cold. There was a big storm brewing, and there were waves that were monstrous. It appeared that the father knew that there will be a problem because the boat was already leaking and he knew it was going to sink. So he had called the coast guards, and giving the location, he had told them that he needed help. And so he also decided that keeping them sitting in the boat would be dangerous, because if the boat flips, they would be trapped under the boat. So he threw us into the sea. True enough, the helicopter came, rescued us, and took us home. I was mighty happy and proud of my father, who had trusted in me and given me so much. I told him, after giving him a big hug, Dad, I trusted in you and I still trust you. Now tell me, do you understand the word trust better?
Yes, sir. The story conveys the best what trust is. The son is trusting his dad. He's thinking that I'm safe in my dad's hand. I can say nothing more than your words itself, father. I can just understand that you are as great as your own words, sir.
Absolutely. A story conveys all the dimensions of the trust more than what a Google definition or the definition that you did is. Google definition is needed, but after this story, that definition will acquire a greater meaning. Can you please repeat that Google definition?
Yeah, sure, sir. Trust is an abstract mental attitude,
Abstract mental attitude,
complex neural process
yes, neural process.
that binds diverse representations into a semantic pointer that includes emotions.
There is emotion, yes. See, slowly this will come into meaning after this story. That's why a story is how we can reach the heart of the present generation. It appeals to you, it's your DNA, it's what makes sense. Now, let us round up and conclude what we said. You know, there are two approaches to teaching. One is called cerebral, cognitive, where we use logic, we use theories, we use evidence, we explain it, we give arguments, and then we give conclusion. The another one is socio-emotive, ratio-emotive, where we give a story and make you understand, immerse yourself, and then give you the reason, then make you feel, then make you give examples, and you will be able to supply other examples which will enhance it. So this is the second method that the present generation loves, not the theory structure that goes with I give a theory, I give a thesis, and I give an explanation. This is the definition and this is the explanation, and do the problem. No, you must be involved in it. This is the new generation's pedagogy. Anybody who switches over to this new generation pedagogy will succeed. You know, there is a lovely little proverb, Native American proverb, that says, those who tell stories rule the world. I would like to change it and say, those who tell stories rule the class. Let us become teachers who tell stories. Thank you.
Thank you for joining this session, Father, on how storytelling creates impact by teaching and learning.
Let's embrace the future, hoping that a teacher who can tell the stories rules the class, just Sir said.
Until we meet again, this is Team Engzine signing off. Bye,
Bye, everyone.
everyone.